Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Patrick Flynn, and I always want to tell you that I'm so excited today that you got your food allergy test done. And the purpose of this video is to walk you through what it is and what it isn't, and actually have a greater understanding of what to do with the test that you have sitting in front of you. So take it, sit it in front of you, and let's go through what food allergies really are. Now, I'm going to define it so when you actually talk about food allergies, you'll understand what they are and what to do with them. So let's take some references and actually define what actually an allergy really is, all right? Because an allergy, you can be allergic to more than foods, but you can actually have allergies to outside, you can have allergies to animals, you can actually have a tree, you can have a food. There's a lot of things you can be allergic to. But what we're going to talk about today is your tests and your foods. So what is an allergy in general? Okay, so we pulled out a reference from Mayo Clinic. Allergies occur when your immune system reacts to a foreign substance. Well, if you think of it this way, anything foreign to the body that the body cannot break down and use properly is foreign. For example, a person can get a sliver in their finger. And guess what? It doesn't belong in the body in that stage, okay? So what happens? The body says it's a foreign entity and it responds with an allergic reaction. And that's why you see a little bit of redness and swelling there. Now, you're probably not going to die from the sliver, but it does result in some inflammation. And that's the point I want you to remember. But let's go on. Allergies occur when your immune system reacts to foreign substances such as pollen, bee venom, pet dander, or a food. That doesn't cause a reaction in most people, all right? Now that's one thing I want you to think about this, is some people can actually come up and pet a dog and have no problem. But some person, if their immune system, it's a foreign thing to it, it's going to react and you're going to see some inflammation. Now, also, you can also have an allergy to a dog and not see the inflammation. See, so that's why when people say, Doc, do I react or not? That's the whole idea of doing a test. But let's go on a little farther. Your immune system produces substances known as antibodies. Antibodies, okay? And if you look down at your lab right now, you'll see that we actually tested your immune response to the foods that we picked out to see if you react to. When you have allergies, your immune system makes antibodies that identify a particular allergen as harmful, even though it isn't, okay? And I say, Doc, what did they mean by that? Well, once again, if your body looks at it as a foreign substance, what it's going to do, it's going to mark it and say it doesn't belong there. It doesn't mean you're going to die from it, but there is a result that comes from it being harmful, and that's inflammation. When you come into contact with an allergen, your immune system reaction can be inflamed of the skin, sinuses, airway, digestive tract, or anywhere in the body. See, that's the key. That's the big key that I want you to understand. The whole purpose of you getting the food test and why your doctor chose for you to get it was he's looking for this, inflammation. There's one thing that all doctors can agree upon across any profession, from an oncologist to a cardiologist to a chiropractor to a podiatrist, even to a dentist, that almost every condition on the planet starts with some form of inflammation. Inflammation is your immune response, okay? So let's define it here. So let's take out, it's a defense mechanism in the body. The immune system recognizes damaged cells, irritants, aka allergens, and pathogens, and it begins the healing process. It's no different that, for example, if a person got that sliver, the sliver goes in, it's foreign, it doesn't belong there. It's an irritant, okay? You're not gonna die from the sliver. You might not even die from the pet and the dog. You might not die from the bee sting, but the end result is there's a foreign substance there. Everybody says, listen, I need to respond to that and heal up that damage. The sad part, what happens with most people in allergies, is the damage continues, okay? Because their body is always become inflamed. So what I want to distinguish now, you say, Doc, but there's multiple things the way your immune system responds. And yes, I want to go through those, okay? Because here's what happens. This is going to be kind of very specific, but I really want you to understand this to see what the difference is and why your doctor tests so much different. Well, if you understand, there's multiple types of allergies. That's why a lot of people say, Doc, I went to the allergist and didn't find anything. Well, I'm going to show you why. Because he was testing a specific type, and there's actually 4 types. If you look at your lab you have right now, it's the most extensive lab out there to test multiple types of hypersensitivities, because that's what an allergy is. An allergy is nothing more than your immune system responding in a very hypersensitive way. Not a sensitive way, a hypersensitive way. Because if your finger inflames, it's an overactivity, a hyper part of it that way. So now the 2 most common types that you're going to see, especially on your lab, is a type 1. This is where most doctors actually live today. most of our medical profession lives in the type 1, which means what? It's an IgE. That's where, for example, a person can actually have an IgE allergy, and it can get so severe that they can actually die from it. I will speak to you from a personal standpoint. I have an IgE to an egg. So an egg to me can be life-threatening, okay? And that's why people do have EpiPens. Now you can still have a type 1 IgE and be allergic and not die from it, but you still get very high chronic inflammation, which now your body tries to deal with that damage that's there. See, the whole idea of actually even having type 1 or any type of allergy is removing that irritant from the body. Because once again, what are we trying to avoid? We're trying to actually avoid having inflammation in the body. We want to reduce that inflammation to as minimal to nothing as possible, okay? Now, but guess what? Type 1 only represents less than 1% of your immune system. Now think about that, guys. That's why when people go to the allergist and they say you have no allergies, but you know personally that you inflame up after you eat. You know that, for example, when you come in contact and eat something or touch something or breathe something in, that you're reacting. Well, that's because the whole medical profession when it comes to allergies bases their whole test on less than 1% immune system. And that's why it's called anaphylactic, because a lot of these people can die from it. But the most common immune response is the other page you see on your lab, and that's the IgG, okay? Once again, it's a different type, but it equates the majority of our immune responses. So if we were to look at a person's lab, and you'll have this in front of you, the first lab, as you can see, it represents an IgE. It's a very high response to the point where these could even lead to death. This young person actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 IgEs out of 8. This is a very sick individual. This is the person that, for example, if they end up having an almond, it could be life-threatening. Now, if you see also, there's a +1 on there all the way down to a +6. It's a degree of sensitivity. It's like having a cup. If you have a cup and there's, it's this big, +1 is this much, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The greater the allergen, the greater amount of antibodies the immune system you have actually floating around your system. So that's why a +1 is reactive. You may not die from it, but +6, it can get darn severe. That's why when people have an IgE allergy, a lot of them will have EpiPens to calm that inflammation down because it can get out of hand, all right? Now, here's what happens. You say, Doc, what if it's on here, it's a +1, and I don't even notice any reactions? It doesn't matter. The end result is you will still have inflammation, and you will want to avoid it. Doc, can I have it a little? No. Think of it this way. Is it ever good to have a sliver? Is it ever good to stub your toe? No, because the end result is there's inflammation, and now the start of all conditions on the planet, from the pain in your spine, to cancer, to diabetes, to heart disease, all starts with inflammation. You will find out that once you start avoiding inflammatory things, that you'll know all parts of your body start to actually reduce in inflammation. From the size of your hands, to the amount of pain you have in your spine, to the amount of gas and bloating you have, to the amount of pain you have in your neck, to the amount of headaches, everything that way. It's why when you start to avoid things that are irritants, you'll see changes all over your body because the immune system exists all over your body. Now, on the second part, a lot of people, once again, they'll go to allergists and say, Doc, he told me I have no allergies. No, he told you didn't have any type 1 anaphylactic IgEs. But as you can see on the second page, this person reacted to 36 different things. Now, I want you to think about this. You're saying, Doc, are you telling me then that if there's 36 things on there, you need to avoid them? Yes, because there's no inflammation that is good. Because once again, what it's going to do, it's part of a healing process, but it's because the tissue is irritated and there was some damage to it and your body has to respond by healing that. So you do not want to consistently put those irritants in. It'd be like this. Do me a favor. Just stub your toe 1 time a day. You may not break it. You may not lose your toe, but boy, it's going to be inflamed and sore every single day. Well, just imagine that inflammation is your GI, your stomach, your heart, your liver. That's why avoiding these things are so key to your health. As you notice, for example, your doc did this test on you for one major reason. He's trying to search out all the things that cause inflammation in your body. Just like he may have taken an x-ray, he may have done an exam, he probably has already adjusted you, and what he's doing is he's trying to find the things that are an irritant to reduce that inflammation in your spine. And then he took another step to say, listen, there could be other things causing inflammation to all parts of your body, and especially foods. It's the most common thing to actually cause people to have inflammation today. It's why allergies are so prevalent today all over the world, because people are putting more irritants into their system, but it doesn't have to be a processed food. It can be an extremely healthy food. For example, as you guys know, I'm allergic to an egg. You say, Doc, what if you eat an organic egg? It will be a very bad organic day for me because my immune system is going to still see it as an irritant, even though it doesn't have any toxins in there being organic that way. So when you look at these allergies, you look at the first two sheets, what you really want to do is both of them, if they have some abnormals to where you are inflaming from them, avoid them like the plague. I promise you, when you start to avoid them, you'll start to not only see and feel and actually notice all the changes that come when you reduce inflammation, just like when your doc started working with you and started reducing the inflammation in your spine. All these things put together have a major effect on your overall health because, like I said before, there's one thing that all of us doctors agree upon. The start of all disease starts with inflammation. Your doctor did a wonderful job by having this test done, so now he's searching for the things that cause inflammation to get you back to the health that you desire. And this is a great way to start. So, once again, my name is Dr. Patrick Flynn. This is food allergies and how important it is for your health.